Hello, I am Elisha Gray, host of the inaugural episode of The Difference Makers, where you will have an opportunity to see educators throughout Atlanta Public Schools who are truly making a difference. Today, we are on the campus of the beautiful Continental Colony Elementary School in Southwest Atlanta, where we will feature first grade teacher and difference maker, Miss Nikeo Coble. Thank you for joining us. When I first walked into Continental Colony Elementary School, I immediately noticed the displays documenting the school's unique history and commitment to the community. Built in 1962, the school remains community and student-focused, as evidenced by the student work flourishing the halls and walls. My most anticipated stop was Miss Coble's classroom, where I was able to gain the most insight into her instructional style. I learned she is certainly an avid proponent of college readiness and knows that it is never too early to have her first graders thinking about their bachelor's, master's, and PhD degrees. Throughout our conversation, it became even more clear the reasons Ms. Coble is featured as a difference maker in Atlanta Public Schools.
Well, thank you for having me. This is a great honor and privilege. So the way I came into the world of education, I actually started out my journey back in Spelman College, and I was not an education major. I was actually a computer science major and a math minor. So I actually started out my professional career in corporate America working as a programmer for Wachovia, who is now Wells Fargo. I also worked as a youth minister for 2.5 years, and I found then that I really had a passion for working with children and doing those types of things. So I knew that I wanted to go into a different career route, but I was very fearful. I was worried about money and what are people going to think. This is a major change, moving from corporate America. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm living the American dream. So I actually happened to be on the phone with my father one evening, and I got paged because I had to carry an on-call pager with application support. It's probably about 9 o'clock at night, and I was just having a fit, one of my little moments, and oh, I hate this job. I have to go into the office. Why is this happening? And he asked me, he said, what is wrong with you? Do you know how many people would be grateful to have the job that you had? You know how many people want to make the type of money that you make?
So you were making the money,
yes,
but you were not fulfilled at what you were doing.
I wasn't. And that's when I said to him, well, they can have it. I don't care. And he was like, oh my goodness. He was like, well, what would you be doing if money wasn't a concern? And I said, I absolutely love the work that I do with the ministry. I would love working with kids. I want to do something with children. And he said, well, for someone who preaches to those kids on Sundays and Wednesdays, and you spend all this time telling these kids about faith, it doesn't sound like you have a whole lot of faith if money is the only thing that's holding you back. Wow. And so it was at that time that I made the decision, well, let me see what are some different avenues I could do to get into the world of education. And so I learned about a program that was called Teach for America. Teach for America takes people who typically, not everybody, but typically do not have teaching experience. Make sure that our mouths are on quiet, our ears are listening, our eyes are up here. Okay, I know we're a little bit wiggly, but let's listen. And I got a few fun things for us to listen to today, okay? Let's do our quick vocabulary. Here's some words that are gonna help you understand today's story, and you'll get to do a few signs that go along with them too. Can you scoot over just a little bit, please, honey? Thank you. Okay, vocabulary today. One word that you will have to listen for today is the word wandered. The word wandered means walked around. So when you hear the word wandered, I want you to do this. Let me see you do that. Okay, so be listening to the word. Good. I do feel like I've made a difference in the 3 years that I've been here. I feel like my children are excited about learning, about going to college. I see them making gains in their reading and their math. So I'm really, really excited that they're excited about learning and wanting to continue their education, which is something that I want to instill in them so that they are lifelong learners.
You're setting them up for their future and how their attitude towards learning will be. How do you prepare them not only to be successful in your class, but to have a lifelong love of learning?
Okay, one of the things that we do in my class is we do a lot of real world connections. How does this apply in the classroom, what I'm learning now? How are these things going to help me? Those type of things we do. We do a lot of real world connections so they know how things work. But I also set them up just to have that mindset as well. Like we have a chant in our room. I say work hard and they say get smart. So I let them know whenever we are working hard, then they're getting smart. So just being a hard worker, you don't have to be born smart. That's something that you can grow, and if you want to be smart, and all the kids tell you that they want to be smart, they know that if they work hard, and they'll come in there and they will work hard because they want to get smart.
There obviously, are some challenges that come along with being an educator. Not only are you looked at as the teacher, but many times you are the teacher, the lawyer, the banker, the police officer, and all of these different roles in your classroom. How do you manage that, and how does that make you feel, having to wear so many different hats and being all things in one person or in one profession to these children that come to you?
Okay. So one of the things that I've actually had to learn since being a teacher is time management. And one is a big, huge time management skill. One of the things that helped me out first year, that's something I struggled with the first year. I just felt like I was just focused on the academics or just focused on this. And you really need to be able to do all those things. So one thing that helped me out was having a good mentor to be able to help me to be able to be a better teacher as well. Nice. What's something you're thinking of about your mom? My mom, B. You said you were saying nice. Okay. What to start with? Nice. What do you hear next? I. Okay, that's a great way to sound it out. Nice. Okay, perfect way to sound it out. The first year I would say it was very pressured because I didn't have that time management. But now that I have it, it's kind of a natural flow and it just kind of builds on each other. So for instance, I just went to New York this past weekend and I was already thinking about my kids. How can I make this experience an experience for them? So I brought them all back a postcard and we shared our postcards and what was the experience like. These are some colleges you can go to in New York, but just to get them thinking about, hey, there's also opportunities to travel. I don't always have to stay in Georgia and things like that. But I'm always thinking about it now, but it wasn't natural at first at all.
Okay, and now we've talked about education is fun and we're developing lifelong learners and we're preparing first graders for college and we're making the real world connections between classroom and how they can actually apply these skills to their lives. But it's not always fun. It's not always easy. Clearly there are some challenges that you have. Let's talk a little bit about some of the challenges you faced in the classroom and how you overcame them.
Thank you. That's a great question. My first year was an extremely tumultuous year. Transitioning from corporate America into teaching was so difficult. It was so difficult for me my first year. My first year was actually a very humbling experience because I was pulled out of the classroom because I had a very hard time with behavior management. If you do not have behavior management down, there's no education going down. It doesn't matter how passionate you are or how much you want to teach, but if you are not able to get their attention and keep it, then all the learning is lost. And so I ended up spending some time with another teacher and I worked as a co-teacher with him during that time, which was humbling because I felt like I came in here from corporate America, I'm a lead, I'm so passionate, and that didn't happen. It was very humbling. But it also taught me how to learn from someone else. I learned so many different things as far as how to be a teacher, how to manage a classroom, how to balance my schedule, how to prioritize different things, and how can I wear all those different hats that you spoke about.
And 20. 19, 18, Shakai is already in star position. 17, 16, Jalen's in star position. 15, Derek has already collected the books for his table. 16.
Continental Colony is a beautiful school aesthetically, but I know that it takes more than just a good-looking building to have good instruction and good programming and to prepare model citizens. Tell me a little bit about the vision here of Continental Colony and what it's like being a teacher.
Okay, I actually love it here, and you're right, the vision is something that trickles down. We are actually a school of choice, and choice is an acronym, and one of the letters in our acronym is the E, and the E stands for excellence. And so that's something that carries down throughout the school. You just see excellence throughout the different classrooms. So it's not just my classroom that has a lot going on. There are a lot of wonderful teachers here who I've also learned from as well, and their help was what grew me to be an excellent teacher.
What about some of the extracurricular activities that are offered here at the school?
They do have an art program here. We actually just got our first Girl Scouts troop here. The Boy Scouts have been here for a while. We are currently in the process of trying up a robotics club, which is something that's wonderful that's going on as well. There's a math club going on, but we have several different opportunities here for the students to get involved.
Right, and that is important because, you know, making, again, those generalizations, what I'm learning in the classroom, really I can apply this when I'm taking the tennis class or taking whatever it is. There's some application of science that can be applied, or math that can be applied, even to some of the fun clubs and extracurriculars that I like to do. Tell me something about the teams that you work in with other teachers and how important that is. I understand you're the team leader for the first grade.
I am team leader for first grade.
How important are those collaborative relationships with your colleagues?
Collaborative planning is so huge. We groom each other. There's a quote that says, as iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another.
Yes.
And so if that's how it is, I learn from them, they learn from me, we all learn from each other. It's just a collective collaboration, which I absolutely love. We also have a leadership council here, which is all the grade level chairs meet together in addition to our administration, and again, it's the same iron sharpen ironing idea around there, and we're also solve like different problems that can be applied throughout the building as well. So it is a very highly collaborative environment.
So much of who you are as a person shows up in the classroom. So much of who we are is what we bring to our life, to our interactions, to our profession. Tell me about your name, what it means, and how that person shows up to Continental Colony.
Okay. My name is actually, this is the short version of my name. My name is actually derived from the Greek word Nikao, which is spelled N-I-K-A-O. My name is spelled N-I-K-A-Y-O, Nikao. But that Greek word actually means the overcomer or the conqueror. Yeah, so one of the ways that this shows up in my classroom is I always encourage my students to never give up, keep on trying, just really putting that on them, that ownership there that, hey, you might not get it right away. There's a lot of things Ms. Copel didn't get right away. My first year was rough. I could have gave up and said, let me go back to corporate America. But I said, no, this is where my heart is. This is where my passion is. I want to work at this until I get it. Even though my 2-year commitment to teach for America was over, I didn't feel like I was done here yet. I hadn't perfected my craft and what I wanted to do. And so I said, I need to stay in the classroom a little bit longer as well. So here I am a 3rd year as well, but I love it. It's about just keep on pushing forward and overcoming, never giving up.
For people who may have been disengaged by the educational system or feel somewhat disconnected, how can you, through some message or through a few words, restore the confidence back into the education system as a whole?
Okay, in general, I think everything starts with one. Each one teach one. That's what first popped in my mind when you said that. And for me, someone had to teach me how to be a great teacher. So you're right, it isn't just everybody's disengaged and education is bad. There are excellent teachers out here in Atlanta Public Schools. But I would definitely say each one teach one. Whatever your craft is, if you're good at programming, program. If you're good at teaching, teaching. If you are good at cleaning, clean. Teach someone else how to do that though. Give them the passion that you have, and it'll be a trickle-down effect.
Absolutely. Well, again, thank you for everything that you're offering in the classroom. We look to hear more from you. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? I know you'll continue to be making a difference, but 5-10 years from now, what are some of your future goals?
My long-term goal, I actually want to open up my own school. I actually want to serve students from low-income areas. I'm a private school, but that it's free for them. So I'm looking for funders who will be able to fund that school for me. But I actually have a vision for opening my own school one day.
I can see that, and I'm sure you'll take many of the experiences that you had here at Continental Colony there with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We are on the campus of Centennial Place Elementary School, where our next difference maker is Ms. Nieves Corrales. Ms. Corrales is a teacher on the move, both literally and figuratively, as you'll often see her pushing her cart of knowledge through the halls, delivering Spanish instruction. Ms. Corrales is also from Spain, which gives students an opportunity to learn the language from a native Spanish speaker. Let us tune in now to our next difference maker, Ms. Nieves Corrales.
Good morning, Ms. Williams.
Good morning. I asked you to have a seat on the...
Buenos días, niños.
Buenos días, señora Corrales.
Bueno, vamos a ver quién está listo. Gracias, Eric. Gracias, Taylor. Gracias, Dion. Siéntese bien.
Just give me a day in the life of being a Spanish teacher.
Well, I teach every day. To my students, I teach first, second, and third grade. So this year we are only doing first grade as exploratory. We teach second and third, from second to fifth grade every day for 30 minutes. And I go to my classrooms with my card. I don't have a classroom. And I teach different units depending on the grade. And that's my day.
Tell me about how you got into teaching in the first place. Was it something you've always done, or are you one of those teachers that kind of switched it up in life?
Well, I am from Spain, so my major is biology. My minor is in education. But I started working in Spain as a teacher in a middle school for 3 years. And when I came back to Atlanta, I decided to become a Spanish teacher. So I had to go back to Georgia State and start all over again from the beginning, and that's how I became a Spanish teacher. But I was working here like as a guest researcher just for 4 months, but I decided that wasn't for me. I really love teaching.
Some people think, oh, a Spanish teacher, all you got to do is know how to talk Spanish.
Oh, no.
There's a lot more to it. Go ahead and tell me about that.
There is a lot. Like I said, I had to go back to Georgia State and start and get certified as a Spanish teacher. Not being a native of the language doesn't guarantee that you are going to be a Spanish teacher. You need to learn all the methodologies and pedagogy, everything about being a teacher.
So what's the biggest challenge about just being a teacher in general? Everyone thinks like, oh, I can do that, get up there and do a few lessons. And so what's the biggest challenge day in and day out for you?
The biggest challenge for me is to get new students through the year, because many of them come from many difficult situations at home and with things that they have experienced at their early age that we can't even imagine. So that's really hard to give them confidence. That's the first thing that you have to give them confidence and tell them, don't worry, you are going to catch up, we are going to have fun learning, but this is going to be okay. So that's the first and the most difficult part for me, to bring all my students engage with me with different levels of proficiency.
I know I have challenges in my own job, but there are certain things. I love being in the schools myself and meeting folks like yourself. What's the biggest love you have in a day in the life of a teacher?
For me, I love my profession. If you don't love this profession, you cannot be here. You really need to care about those children and love them, because if not, you can't do it. Some days it's really hard because each child is different, they have different personalities and different learning styles, and you need to address all of them at the same time. So that's a big challenge, but at the same time, like I said, you need to prepare units that engage them, and you put yourself in their minds with their age, thinking, do I think that this unit is going to interest them? Are they going to learn the foreign language through this theme that I am bringing to them? So that sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but that's what you need to think first. Think with their minds. What are they interested in learning? And from them, develop your unit.
I know something about you. Even before the first time I met you, I had to kind of, what do they say, crash your classroom. I had to kind of surprise in your classroom, and I said, who is this person we're going to see at Centennial? I thought I knew everyone at Centennial, but you got a special award. So tell me about what it's like to be recognized actually for your work. You've actually put in the work and you got recognition for that. Tell me about that day.
Yes, that was a very exciting day. I've been working in Centennial for 10 years. So one of my colleagues nominated me for the Atlanta Families Awards of Excellence in Education. And after the whole summer working and preparing this project and putting together what I wanted to do with my students, I got it. So it was a very special day for my students, for my principal, for everybody here in Centennial.
¿Es correcto?
No. Es
Cerca, cerca. El
seis.
el sexto, muy bien. Es el sexto planeta, ¿sí? Entonces colóquelo en el sitio correcto, con el lápiz. ¿Dónde está?
Is it the one right here?
¿Cómo? ¿Cómo? Ven aquí, ven. Piensen. ¿Cómo podemos saber cuál es el sexto? Vamos a contar las órbitas. Mire, primero, segundo. I don't hear, no oigo. Momento. Primero, segundo, tercero, cuarto, quinto, sexto. Muy bien. Entonces lleva Saturno porque es el sexto planeta.
What is so unique about the foreign language teacher that we might not know? Share something that we might find unique about you.
Well, I have fun teaching. That's one thing that you need to have fun teaching to your students, and that way you engage them. You need to be prepared first. The preparation is first, and then hard work. Hard work and always looking for creativity activities like the one that I did for the Atlanta Families Awards. I put in place an approach called communicative language teaching. And I am teaching my students theater arts through performances. So through the theater arts, through these two plays that we did with them, I'm teaching them literature, culture, geography, costumes in the Hispanic culture, because we are called Hispanic, but under the term Hispanic, there are so many different countries, so many different people with so many different cultures, and that's what I am trying to teach my students, and that way they get really engaged. So that's what I think that I do different. I always try to bring them the reality through all the aspects of culture.
Good morning, Mr. Bassi.
Good morning.
Buenos días, niños. Bueno, vamos a ir. Gracias, Destin. Destin, ¿ya estás bueno? ¿Ya no estás enfermo? ¿Estás bien ya? Muy bien. Bueno, en silencio, por favor. Vengan a la alfombra. En silencio.
You've had success here at Centennial. What do you think your secret is? Just the secret to that success here?
There is no secret. This is hard work. Hard work pays off at the end. Not only that, also to have a supportive administrative team, a PTA, parents who always believe in you because they see what you do with their children every day. So I've always been so lucky here in Centennial. I've had so much support from my principal, my administrative team, my parents, and of course they see what you do every day. So if you work hard and you keep pushing and asking, sometimes they tell you, I'm sorry, Ms. Corrales, we can't give that to you, but many times I feel so fortunate that they gave me what I want for my students. It's not easy, especially in these times with the economy, but you need to try. If you stop believing and you stop trying, then you can reach any goals that you have for your students. So you need to keep trying, keep working hard, look for ideas, the technology that we have available. Our students know more technology than we do, so we need to catch up with them. and they are interested with technology, so we need to teach them also through all the new things that we have right now.
How do you feel you make a difference at the end of the day?
I think I want to believe that I really make a difference with my students. When I see their eyes so bright and sparkling, when they finally get something that I am teaching them and I see them enthusiastic about it and, Ms. Corrales, I got it, then I feel that I'm making a difference. When I see that they are learning and that they participate and they are engaged and they are not bored and they start misbehaving because they are bored, because we don't have a magic wand that everything is going to like it. You have better days than others, but when you see those eyes, then I say, I can make a difference. I'm making a difference with them. I enjoy my job, and I am here because I really love my school, my students, and I'm here for them. So when I stop believing in that, then I will go to another profession, because I really believe that you need to.
Let me get into one area that kind of gives you a chance to speak out, perhaps. What is the biggest misperception of the Spanish teacher, or that kind of share that with us, the listener? What's the biggest misperception out there?
Well, every person is different, and they might think sometimes, oh, it's going to be all grammar and boring stuff, and that's not my approach. I know some teachers might teach still with all approach. I teach them to read, to write, to speak, all the skills. Of course, the first one is listening, but I believe in that you need to teach a language with all the skills at the same time, but engaging your students with meaningful units that you prepare for them.
Okay. And lastly, what do you see in the future? Any future aspirations for Ms. Corrales?
My future is being a teacher and keep working hard. I mean, that's my aspiration, to keep working hard for my students every day and do as best as I can.
All right. And you're also the Teacher of the Year, so
this year was...
You're writing all these accolades, so what's next then?
Nothing. I am fine now. I am okay. I don't need anything.
I do. Good morning, Miss Handler.
Put your books in the bucket.